What's going on? You're tuned in to another Six Visions exclusive interview. My name is Sik Saleem, and today I have a very talented singer on set with me. Her name is Moreen Dela Cruz. Thank you for coming.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
We have been trying to schedule an interview for some time, too. I know life gets hectic, everything going on, and so finally now we're here. Thank you for coming.
Thanks for having me.
I want to get into your EP right away because you have actually before I get to the EP,
Okay.
let's talk about the sound because
Sure.
the sound you have is so like relaxing. You know what I'm saying? You have a really
Thank
nice,
you.
soothing voice, right?
Thank you.
I was listening to a bunch of your singles last night as well while driving, and it really gives you that vibe. You know, it's like a long cruise type vibe,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So when did you first get into music?
So I've actually been singing since I was like really young. I grew up in the Philippines, so Filipinos are always very like musically inclined. So I started there, but I didn't actually start recording until 2018.
Okay.
Yeah, and like that's when my first single "Slow Down" came, and then that's when like I kind of just like tested the waters of recording,
Right.
and then went from there. Actually, I didn't know how to write songs before until
Okay.
recently. So
So what have you been writing songs on your own? Or
Yeah.
was it? Do you have like people who kind of sit in the room with you and piece these songs together?
So usually, like for my songs, I base it off of experiences that I've like made. I
Right.
find like the most emotion come out, especially when you go through something.
Right.
So I usually write it honestly, just like a lot of artists, like when I'm going through something, or like when I'm sad. The typical like breakup, whatever.
Yeah.
And just that's how I really get into my process.
Right.
I haven't really written with a lot of people.
Okay.
I've just started getting into it. So in my EP coming up, that's when like I've had people sit in with me and like
Right.
do that, because I do have a couple features on it.
That's
as
cool.
well. Yeah.
We'll get into the EP, a full breakdown of the EP too, because
Yeah.
this is a big project for you.
Oh,
Right?
yes.
And it's
Yeah.
huge. I've been hearing a bunch of songs too across the hall, and to me, it sounds really good the way it's coming along.
Thank you. Thank
So
you.
let's start with the first. You're saying you grew up in the Philippines,
Yeah.
right? Were you born there?
I
Or you
was.
Okay.
I was.
Now, how has Filipino culture influenced your sound, if at all?
Honestly, it's Filipino culture. I find, at least from where I grew up, we were into a lot of guitar, like serenading. My dad would always serenade me and my mom when we were children. So I find like that really influenced me, because I want to create music that essentially makes people feel good, or, like makes people feel, or like just,
Yeah.
vibe.
Right.
So yeah, like that's how it really came from like the Filipino culture.
Right.
Yeah.
So the Filipino culture now obviously has like this part in your life that is pretty prominent now. When you moved to Canada, was there an influx in Canadian influence, or did you realize that maybe, I'm going to still bring the Filipino aspect into the Canadian culture?
Honestly, I came to Canada pretty young. I came here at like
Okay.
12. So I wasn't really thinking of that much.
Okay.
But how Canada and my Filipino culture kind of intertwine is like, here there's more opportunity. So it's more like there's more of a platform for me.
Yeah.
Because in the Philippines, like, we weren't rich, but like we weren't poor at the same time. So
Okay.
it's very hard to kind of like get recording and like all that stuff,
Right.
right? So Canada has made everything much easier, essentially, and like has made me realize like, okay, this is what I really want to do, and this is how I want to sound.
What about Canada
Yeah.
made that happen, though? Was it the people you found, people you interacted with, friends?
Yeah, definitely. The people I like had experiences with, definitely the relationships that I've had, the people, like I've surrounded myself with a very positive,
Yeah.
and then of course, just like every other life, is that you surround yourself sometimes with like the wrong people,
Right.
and that's how you really get the very raw emotions in the
Right.
songs that I've had.
Absolutely. Now, speaking of wrong people too, I feel like a part of it has to do with the fact, not just your experiences that you can write songs about, but almost like basically what you go through as a person.
Exactly.
Right?
Yes.
Now, have you had any experiences that when you're like, either whether it be personal or businesses that you're like, in the moment, this is the right thing to do, but then something happens, catches you off guard. Now you're like, oh shit, like I didn't see that happening. I didn't know this was going to happen. I'm not talking about breakups and stuff. I'm talking more so like,
Like,
like kind of like, you know, like, oh, I'm taking music seriously, so now I'm headed this way. But then you realize, oh, this was a bad investment to make in terms of business. Now I should be working with these people because they've been holding me back.
Yes, 100%. It's really hard, especially like as a woman, to like have features sometimes, because you don't like, I don't know. I feel like a lot of female artists can relate.
Well, sorry to cut you off real quick. Do you mean features as in you getting features on your songs, or you being featured on others?
Being featured on others.
Okay.
Like, it's not just features. It's basically working with anyone. I mean, I haven't had that many bad experiences with like people who have asked me. Like, everyone has been very, very nice and very polite. But most definitely when I first started, it was a lot of like, you're not sure whether they are reaching out to you for business or if it's, you know, like, if it's something else, you know what I mean? Like like a dating, like maybe like they're trying to get to know you in a way that's not business.
Right.
I mean?
Yeah.
I've had like a few experiences like that, but I mean, like, you kind of just have to like go around it.
Okay.
And in a sense, so like whenever like I work with people, I kind of just like make sure that there's like a business relationship there, because like I said, like I feel like I can't speak for a lot of female artists, but for me personally, like it's been, you know, like that's happened before where you don't know what people's intentions are, and you have to be very, very careful.
Man, that's terrifying to think, because so we have a mutual friend in Chriselle.
Yes, I love Chriselle.
What up, Shell?
What up?
I love Chriselle.
Yes,
she's so dope.
She's amazing.
Her and I were having a conversation about, this is when the time you were with Avius in the studio. She was here, we were just talking and chopping it up, and she was telling me, she's like, yeah, Moreen, the reason she's being held back is because she's been surrounded with people who've held her back. And that to me got me thinking about what you just said was, is she being held back because she's a woman, or is she being held back for other reasons? Because you're fucking talented.
Oh, thank you.
Like, there is absolutely no reason for you to possibly be held back. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So there's no, I don't, like, when she told me that, it kind of shocked me. I'm like, man, there's gotta be some shady shit going on. Because I personally know a few guys who try to do that. They'll be like, oh, I'm going to get this girl on this feature, and then maybe I'm going to make my, you know, shoot my shot with her. It's like, keep it business.
Yeah. I definitely agree with you with that. But I don't think that I was necessarily surrounded with like anyone shady. Like I said, like I choose a lot of the people that I surround myself with. Right. And I'm very careful. So I'm very thankful for the people that I've had, because they've motivated me. Yeah. Personally, I think what has set me back is just I'm a very busy person. Right. So I work a lot. Like I used to work like 5 jobs.
Holy
at
shit.
A time. Yeah. And like
5 jobs?
5. I'm not kidding.
What the hell?
I know. I'm typically a very busy person. So it's not so much that like I have been surrounded with people who have held me back. It's more just like I've had a lot of trouble like kind of prioritizing, you know, because in the music business, you don't necessarily have a full like a guarantee.
Yes, of
right?
course.
So I had to kind of like build that confidence and build that, okay, whether or not there's a guarantee here, you need to start taking it seriously. And that's where last year, that's where I had that. But yeah, no, like I don't really see like being held back by like shady people, I guess you could say.
Maybe I used the word shady. Maybe she didn't say shady, but I'm sorry, Michelle. But basically people that kind of, I guess, because I've noticed this with a lot of acts myself that are like, they're almost like selfish. And it's like, for example, it's like, I'm not going to work with you. I'm going to work against you because I can't let you win. I want to win. Yeah. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do get what you're saying. And the other thing is too, it's hard to kind of find people that you really, really vibe with sometimes. You know, like there are so many talented people here in Windsor. Like there's so many, like countless. And like I am so proud of Windsor for that. But sometimes, you know, no matter how talented a person is, or like no matter how popular they are, it's the vibe, right? Absolutely. So sometimes you could be completely 2 different people, or 2 complete energies, and it just doesn't match, you know? So that's the other thing too that I find is that I'm very like I want to walk into a room and kind of like feel a spark. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. I'm not too picky in that sense, but for me, music has to be very genuine, and a lot of the times And I feel like modern culture, like we go for the clout or like we go for popularity more than our authentic selves. And for me, I would like to have like a very authentic sound. And I find like a lot of people in Windsor do have that authentic sound.
Yeah.
And I want to get there as well.
That's really cool, man.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about what you said about the 5 jobs, because that's just still stuck in my head. I can't get over it.
Okay, no.
How did you have time? Was it like we were working, like, if you don't mind me asking, what were they that you were able to work 5 jobs?
Okay, so my first job was I've worked at Bath and Body Works for maybe like 5 years. So I would work there on weekends, Saturday and Sunday. And then I had a full-time job at a medical office. Okay. I'd work there Monday to Friday. Okay. And then on Friday evenings, Saturday evenings, and Sunday evenings, I would work at a restaurant from 4 to 10. Okay. 4 to 9. And then from 10 to 12, I did work at Blanche for a little bit. Okay. And I served there from 11 to 4 a.m. Okay. And then it would be that for like a whole month. Yeah. So you just,
Did you ever get to a point where you're just like so overwhelmed? You're like, I don't want to do anything. Because I know people who can't, like, for myself, I'm not a 9 to 5 kind of guy. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I have one job. And if I'm doing a 9 to 5 and I'm behind a fucking counter or a desk or whatever for 8 hours a day, I hate it. Yeah. I get so bored and I get so annoyed. Yeah. The fact that you held 5 different jobs is so mind-blowing to me.
I know. Oh, and the 5th job was singing. So I would do gigs here and there.
Sick.
Yeah.
Honestly, though, I'm not going to lie to you. I wouldn't count that as a job because that's what you really want to do.
Yes.
So I would say that at least you had that in there. At least you had time for that, the music part, right? Now, speaking of singing live, though, in 2019, I believe it was, you had a show, right? It was called Super Skills, I think.
Yeah, that was, so I've had a couple of shows. I did start doing live performances in 2019. Right. It was Super Skills. That was one of my biggest ones.
Was that in the Philippines or was it here?
No, it was actually in Toronto.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Okay. Because there's a video of you on YouTube that you're singing a song.
Yes.
And it's very like hard to see the background really fully, but you just see your name is written on the...
Yes.
So was it like almost like, like a Moreen Dela Cruz headlining show type thing?
No, it was actually more of like Filipino showcase. Oh, okay. So yeah, every year the Filipino community in the universities there, they actually throw Super Skills to, show Filipino talent. And Chriselle told me about it and was like, hey, you should audition. And at this point I'm like, I haven't done a lot of shows. Like I'm still a bit shy. And she's like, no, just do it. And I did it. And then from there I kind of just grew that confidence. Yeah. And that got me into a bigger show, also in Toronto, with about maybe like 10,000 people that I competed for. So yeah, like it was a lot. Like I got to sing with Filipino celebrities. It was pretty awesome. Yeah, it was very awesome. One of them was like, you should go to the Philippines and be a celebrity there. And I was like, oh, like I don't know.
Have you ever thought about that?
Many times. Yeah. Many times. All my family members keep telling me to go back there and be a celebrity. But honestly, I'm just kind of like going with the flow right now. I'm not really pushing so much for that thing. Because like I said, like I want to be my authentic self. Right. And yeah.
So, okay. Now, before I move on from that, the other part, another song that you sang in that video was half Filipino, half English, right?
It was.
That was so sweet to me. I love when people can mix different languages into one track. Okay. Yeah. And that to me was so amazing. Like I probably played it back 4 or 5 times because like obviously I don't understand what you're saying in Filipino, but it just sounds really good.
Oh, thank you so much.
Do you speak Filipino fluently?
I do.
Okay. Now, have you ever thought about putting a full maybe project out or even like a full song in Filipino?
My family members have been urging me to do so. Yeah. I am just waiting for that spark, I guess, that I'm talking about, to kind of like get there in a sense where I want to feel like I want to embody Filipino pride. Got you. Yeah, you know what I mean? And and every song that I make, I want to embody that. But I mean, I just want it to be so... like genuine that it's like, okay, I'm gonna write a Filipino song today, kind of thing.
Got you. Yeah. But do you think if you were to write a song in Filipino rather than English, do you think it would be harder because I know, for example, people who speak multiple languages too, and when they write songs in English, it's almost like it comes like that to them. But when they write in their native tongue, it's so difficult.
Yeah. It's definitely more difficult.
Yeah.
Because like you're right. Like I am so used to writing English songs, and I've been here for a long time and I can speak it very, very fluently. But if you hear a lot of Filipino songs, they speak it like it's completely pure, and like I'm scared to make like a mistake.
Okay.
Because as much as I know the language, I don't know it up to date.
Gotcha.
So it's very hard to kind of like put it together.
Yeah.
Especially with the vibe that I have. Like it's kind of hard to like not make it sound cheesy. You know what I mean?
Right.
So yeah, it's definitely.
When you talk to your family back home, do they make fun of you because you have a Canadian accent on your Filipino per se? Because I know I get that myself.
Yeah, sometimes it's more my friends, because like my family, they've gotten used to it too. No, I have a Filipino friend and her name is Rose, and she's always like, Moreen, like, don't speak Tagalog, like it doesn't sound right anymore. I'm like, what do you mean? I grew up there. Don't tell me that. No. Yeah.
Don't speak. Yo.
Yeah.
That's kind of disheartening.
No. It's all jokes. It's all jokes.
I know.
But I definitely just I want to keep that language, and
yeah.
like, I want to sound as as good as possible when I'm speaking Tagalog.
Do you feel like the Filipino culture is almost like something that you're so like you want to embody? And I'm not talking about just musically now. Like in general, is it something that you're like, yes, I'm proud to be Filipino, and like, excuse me, it's basically like, you're proud to be Filipino, but also it's like, man, something about it is like, how do I word it? Basically, like you're kind of not so invested in Filipino culture, but it's still something you're really proud of. Does that make sense?
Yes, that makes a lot of sense.
Yes.
Honestly, I am very, very proud of my culture.
Yeah.
Like I said, a lot of Filipinos are musically inclined, and
Yeah.
I would never for a second deny that I'm Filipino. Like I love being Filipino. It's a pride that I was born this way, and I was very, very lucky to be born a Filipino, because we're very hard workers. We're a lot of the stereotypes. So we're, we talk loud. It's amazing. Like good food. There's nothing that I could ever be ashamed of.
Right. Mm-hmm. Now, you mentioned something earlier about how your family said to go back home and be a celebrity there.
Mm-hmm.
I know you said right now you want to be your authentic self,
yes.
right? However, have you ever thought about, like, if you do go back home, do you think it's going to be that easy to just become a celebrity? Because I know the way, like, I can give you an example for myself. Mm-hmm. Like in Pakistan, for people, if they say, oh, so-and-so was born in Canada or U.S., they grow up there, they're very drawn to that.
Yes,
so it's almost like the same thing. If I go back home, for example, it's like, oh, you'll be set.
Yes, we definitely have a lot of connections in the Philippines. So when I was there before COVID hit, I was actually asked to sing in one of the biggest like TV, the TV channels there. Right. However, COVID hit and it was postponed because they weren't having any open auditions, and we had to leave a week early. But I was in contact with one of the celebrities that I was speaking to here in Toronto, and he was gonna set me up with that. But I think like it's not going to be easy, but it's not going to be hard either. Right. Especially because of the background in Canada and like being here for a long time and like being able to speak like really good English. Yeah. Like it's really hard to tell.
Do you find that as an easy way out though?
Yeah, that too. I mean, it is kind of an easy way out, but I don't know. Like I like a challenge.
Fair enough.
So it's like, we'll see what happens if in a couple of years it's like, oh, you know what? I actually want to go back to the Philippines. Why not? It's hot. It's sunny. It's beautiful. Okay.
Hell yeah.
But we'll see. Like, we're young, there's lots of time.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Let's move on to the EP now, man, because this is an exciting project. Gigi off the project, right? Amazing song.
Thank you so much.
Really good.
Couldn't have done it without Jesse and Milana.
The cover art's unreal.
Yes, they are so talented.
Jesse Hebert, shout out to him, and Milana Radic, shout out to her.
Shout out.
Jesse posted a photo of the before and after, and it's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. I did that all in my bedroom.
Yeah. It's crazy.
With my iPhone.
It's insane. Now, let's talk about this EP real quick. The song Gigi, right? First of all, what does Gigi stand for?
Good game.
Good Game. Okay, okay. Because I was listening. You have another one called Guessing Game, which is an older song.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I got those confused for a second. I thought it was the same thing. But
Yeah.
Okay, Good Game. Now talk about the single a little bit. Why? Like, what is the importance of the single to you?
So the importance of the single is kind of like not a coming of age, but like kind of getting to know myself in such an extensive way.
Yeah.
It wasn't necessarily about anybody else. It was more about me and my journey and like getting to that level of confidence where I can like stand up for myself or like feel confident with my body, with my music, you know. Gigi, I actually wrote it. It's a game reference. I don't know if you.
Oh
yeah.
shit! Yeah. Okay, I got you.
You know what I mean? Like anybody play Dota? Like
I was thinking Call of Duty.
yeah, Call of Duty. That's it. Like any video game reference. Like I say
Got
a lot
you.
of like it's a good game, and I go like roll a deuce. Like
Yeah.
there's a lot of like game references there.
Okay.
And it's more just like, all right, well played. Like we got here. You
That's
know what
crazy.
I mean?
Okay.
Yeah.
So it has nothing to do with like a heartbreak or something.
No.
Okay. Yeah, that part was
Yeah.
crazy because like again, I was listening to the song and I'm vibing, and I'll be honest with you, when I was listening to it, it was kind of hard to hear for me personally. Like more so where you were going. I knew it wasn't about heartbreak.
Yeah.
But I also didn't catch those references. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get you.
Okay, so I didn't catch those, but the song itself is so good.
Thank
and now,
you.
is this something we can expect for the entire project?
Yes, so actually my project has a couple of songs. I'm looking at 4 songs right now. And it's like the same kind of vibe. You know, it's called Waste My Time. I'm just gonna give that out.
Sure.
I mean, it's gonna come out anyway. I've said it on Instagram. It's not a big deal. It is called Waste My Time, and it's kind of like owning that power within yourself to kind of like give it to somebody and like learning, you know, just learning how to be confident and, you know,
Right.
Yeah. But no, for Gigi, it's when you're saying like you didn't really know where I was going with it. I mean, it's part of the journey, right?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
It's part of.
I
Like,
didn't mean that in disrespect. By
no,
the way.
no.
Okay.
I'm not disrespecting. Trust me. No.
Okay.
Like it's part of the journey. Is like getting to know what your sound is and like
Yes.
where you're going, like how people interpret it.
Right.
So.
It still gave me the Moreen Dela Cruz vibe.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
So when I heard Guessing Games, and there was a few other songs here like WBY, Glass, You, like they all kind of have a distinct sound where you're saying you haven't found your sound. But when I hear your music, I can kind of pinpoint a sound. That might just be me personally, not knowing what the specifics are that go on with you in your artistic journey, correct?
Yes.
However, if this EP is going to sound like Gigi, I can tell you right now it's going to have a very authentic Moreen Dela Cruz sound,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
So that to me is what I'm really excited about too. You said it was going to be 4 songs on there.
Yes.
Okay. Are you shooting music videos for any or at all?
For now with COVID going on, I can't really say because like I said, I've had to actually reschedule my shoot a couple times because of lockdown. So it's really hard to book one. Plus I'm still looking for a videographer.
Okay.
I take my time with that process.
Yes.
So I can't say.
How do you decide your music videos though in terms of creative direction? Do you give the full direction to the videographer, or do you have a whole concept in mind already and you just take it to somebody and say, this is what I want to do?
Okay, so going back to the whole finding people to work with and like the whole vibe, I like giving people artistic freedom.
Okay.
Because if somebody were to come to me and be like, hey, like I want you to sing the song or whatever, like I want to have artistic freedom.
Right.
You know what I mean? So when I shot my first music video for Guessing Game, I actually just gave him the creative direction and I just said, hey, I want this car in here. That's all I want, and you do the rest.
Got you.
Yeah, and then it turned out beautiful. So
that's awesome because I feel like people can appreciate that. But on the flip side of that as well, there's some people who are like, for example, if I'm like, yo, this is a video that I'm trying to put together, right? And the artist is like, all right, but this is the concept that I want. Like, okay, cool. So all I got to do is really show up on the day of and hit record.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Whereas there's some artists I've worked with and they're like, dude, this is a song. I don't know where I want to go with it. Figure it out. And there's moments where I'll take a song and if I really fuck with a song, I'm like, yo, give me the creative direction because I love building a world around it.
Exactly.
If there's a song I'm not really, whatever with, and they're like, yo, can you shoot a video for this? I'm like, all right, but what's your concept?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I agree.
And I feel like because it comes to the motivation factor.
Exactly.
And if you're not as motivated to do a project, I feel like you're not really going to thrive to the fullest, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So like I said, like I choose people who are just as motivated as me when it comes to that because it's really, really important, you know? Yeah, like you would just want to like get that vibe.
100%.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the writing process of this EP now, right? I know we mentioned it a little bit earlier. Writing with other people, though, when they come in, where they're not just writing their own verses, such as the features, right? Where they're not just writing their own verses or whatever, where they're kind of like, yo, Moreen, like you guys sat in a room, and I know you want artistic freedom, but was it so like, yo, I think this line will go here, it would sound good if you said this, and vice versa, you to them?
Yeah, so it was, so one song was like that. I had one of the artists come over to my little home studio, and she's amazing. So I had her kind of like direct me as well, right? Because I feel like two minds are better than one.
Absolutely.
And like I said, the creative freedom that you give people, like sometimes they'll think of an idea or a melody that you never thought of.
Absolutely.
And it sounds absolutely amazing, or a lyric, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, like one of the songs in the EP is she did help me write some of the song, and she wrote her own verse, and we kind of just like bounced off of each other.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's cool, man. So can you talk about who the features are, or is that a secret for now?
I want to keep it a secret for now, because I do need to get their like super approval before I release anything.
Okay. So
yeah.
do we have a release date on the project?
I don't yet.
Okay.
I need to have my shoot done first. I need to get through that. This gray zone is like killing me.
I know. Well, Moreen, we got to wrap this up, but thank you so much for coming out. And this EP, like I said, I'm really looking forward to it.
Thank you so
It's something
much.
that it's really excited for me to like see more talent from Windsor. And I don't mean this in a negative way, but hearing a lot of women artists come forth now, because you don't see much of it here.
No, you don't. And like, honestly, I know so many like women artists that are super talented, and you know they need more attention and like more, you know, what do you call it, like
more spotlight.
Yeah, more spotlight, and it's, you know, it's just amazing to like.
I agree
that they're starting to come out.
100%.
Yeah.
Well, Moreen, where can I find you on Instagram, social medias, and all that stuff?
So on Instagram, I'm Moreen Dela Cruz, and it's Moreen Dela Cruz. And then, you know, you can find me on Twitter at I am Moreen DC, and Spotify as well. It's just my name.
Cool. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
No
Honestly,
problem.
it's my first interview, and it's going pretty good.
It went really well.
Yeah.
Were you nervous at all?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I can't lie. Like, I'm over here like, what do I say? Like, I don't know what to say.
No, people get nervous, and they're cool after the first few minutes. But it was really well.
Cool.
All right, my name is Sik Saleem. Thank you guys so much for watching. You can follow me on Instagram at Sik Saleem, Twitter Sik Saleem, and Facebook Six Visions Media. Subscribe to this YouTube, leave a comment, leave a thumbs up. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.